Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy, my channel's Finding Value, and I wanted to answer, there was a comment here, and I don't think I've ever talked about this on the channel. The comment in the comment section is, Andy, if we are using ratios as a measure of what is expensive and what is cheap, and gold is manipulated, how do we know our ratios are correct? That is an amazing question. So the way that I'm going to approach this, and this is the reason why. So when your power, if your power is all over the dollar, so let's say everything of your power is based off of the dollar being in existence. The Federal Reserve and the dollar, that's where they get their power from, the dollar. They have a military that backs the dollar as well, the US military. If people transact outside of the dollar for commodities, you've seen some Middle Eastern countries try to do that. We send our military over there and tell them no. And if they don't comply, they don't exist anymore. That's one way that we back our dollar, is by tying it to things and tying it to transactions where the world has to use our currency. Now, what are some things that can destroy the confidence in the dollar? Commodities going up, which is inflationary, gold, silver, and precious metals. That's another signal that the market uses to say, hey, look, you've got a lot of inflation. Look at the price of gold. So what they did is they did everything they could to absorb dollars from keeping the price of gold to go higher. They manipulate it downward. Now, they've done that using a bunch of different things. They use a massive derivatives market where the paper contracts are much larger than the physical metal. It's paper absorbing paper, and they can pay off. People usually don't take physical metal. They don't take delivery of the physical metal. They just do the paper exchange. They created ETFs. I don't know if those ETFs are backed with physical metal. They say they are, but I don't know if they actually are. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I don't know. But they could use ETFs to absorb paper with paper. They've done all these different things of absorbing paper with paper. So it's slowing. They could potentially slow the move of gold and silver if they had to, and they would do it through the derivatives contracts, through ETFs. And then what they would also do is they can change the margin requirements on those paper contracts. So really the only way that you could get out of this manipulation is just drain the physical metals. You just drain it completely. And then they would be manipulating basically no physical metal because they don't have anything. It's just a paper market. You'd see this break between the physical and paper markets. Now, why would they manipulate gold so much? Now, if gold is tied, if that's our measuring stick and is tied to all other commodities, the reason they control gold, silver, and platinum is because there's a direct link to all the other commodities. So what they're trying to do is they're going to try to suppress the price of gold and all of those commodities and precious metals. They're going to hold all the precious metals down, which in effect is holding all the commodity sector down. Here's the problem. You're going to run into shortages of something, and you may run into shortages of everything. That is their scheme. Their scheme is to hold it all down through the precious metals, especially gold and silver price. They hold that down. They're like, push it down. Hold. And it holds the whole commodity sector down. At some point, they're not going to be able to hold it down because the supply-demand fundamentals that are underneath this are going to break that up. They're going to do one of those like breakthrough, and you know which finger they're going to hold up. Just not the middle. That's they're gonna eat it. That's my take on it. So their entire power is derived from having the dollar be in existence and being valuable to somebody, and people willing to exchange the dollar and exchange value for that dollar. They're going to do everything they can to keep that stranglehold. And your question is 100% legit. Like it is. If gold's being manipulated, how do we know if something's expensive or cheap? It's just one day, it's all going to break. I think it's just going to break. They're going to try to hold it. They won't be able to hold it down, and it's all going to break. You better be in and not out. And the whole commodity complex, you're going to see this valuation that's just going to be like revalued. I mean, it's going to go very, very fast, very quick. You're starting to see some of these commodities go up. They've been suppressed and they've gone rocketing higher because their supply-demand fundamentals are so messed up. Oil is going to be one of them. Copper is going to be another. Silver is going to be another one. Silver is going to go crazy. Gold's going to be another one. They're all going to do it. So the best course of action, in my opinion, is to get your companies, find them that you like, get physical metal, do whatever you need to before this thing breaks up. Continue to pile into it, kind of on the hush-hush. I don't care if they're holding this down. And when that breaks, it's going to be a big snap higher, I think. You're going to see it just day after day. It's going to be a big move up. And you're either in or you're out. And I'm just accumulating over time. I think they're going to lose control over gold and silver. I think commodities are going to follow higher, and we're going to have a high rate of inflation. You're going to see the dollar come on down, and then you're going to see more and more money pile in. That big rotation of money is going to come right at the commodity sector, and the commodity sector is teeny in comparison to all these other sectors like bonds, stocks. All that money's over there. It's all sucked into those, and it'll come rotating to ours. And then what we do is we just sit there, and we watch other people run around the world, scatter for the remains of whatever copper there is, the remains of whatever oil there is, and whatever remains of gold, silver, and other metals. That's kind of how my viewpoint is, because we're going to be awash in a bunch of paper currencies everywhere. And paper currencies have no inherent value. It's just whatever people are willing to exchange it from. And if you lose that confidence, you lose that ability and value and confidence in people willing to exchange dollars for something, then you're going to go to something else. And that something else, in my opinion, in history has been precious metals and commodities, because that's what has value. It has intrinsic value. If you guys like this content, leave some comments below on what you think. Do you think we're at that breaking point? I think we're getting closer and closer each day. I mean, obviously that's kind of obvious, but I think we're getting very much closer. If you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up, and thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.